Yeah, that's for me. Sorry, Walter. I gotta go get the kids here in a little.
Gotcha. Yep, definitely record it. I think I recorded Monday stand down. I don't know if I uploaded that, but I could throw that up somewhere. But okay, CD. I'm trying to find my directory here. Challenges, get phone. All right, so we're doing the validate phone challenge, also called phone numbers. I guess the link kind of doesn't match the name, but we have validate phone numbers. So let's kind of look at it and try to do maybe a couple of them together. Reno, I think you were the one that suggested maybe doing this. Did you have a particular example you wanted to go over? There's a few of them, so probably not going to do all of them.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I just would like to see how other people code in regex.
Okay, I'm going to pick probably one from the middle. So I think they get slightly difficult as we go down the list. I'm not sure if that's fully true, but let me pick test gets all phone numbers. So I just randomly picked that one. So let's kind of try to look at this. All right, so here, when you call get all phone numbers, you get all phone numbers back. That seems pretty straightforward. I'm not sure what the challenge is here.
Probably because you have a string of like varying arrangements of 10 digits with dashes or brackets on them as well that you have to catch for.
Yeah, sorry, I misread this. So basically, we get one string that's comma separated. We want to extract all the phone numbers out of that. So basically, that goal here, I'm assuming, is to capture the commas and only get the stuff in between here. So let's try to do that. So I'm gonna go to my validate phone. Let's find that method, get all phone numbers, gets and returns all phone numbers from an inputted string. Inputted might not be a real word, or do I need two T's? Two T's. Okay, so input string is just gonna be one string that might have one or many or no phone numbers in it. So we want to return a list of those phone numbers. All right, so let's look at the example that we had in the test spec. It was a comma separated string of 3 phone numbers. Let's get both of these. All right, so our input is this, or sample input would be that, and sample output would be sample output. Okay, so we're gonna ideally use regex to do this. We could split on commas, so that'd be one way to do it. We just call something not split, but I assume we want to do this the regex way, so let's try it doing that way. All right, so we have input string, and we want to use regex. So do we have the regex module? No. So I'm going to import RE. That's our regex, regular expressions module in Python. It's a lot of goodies. And here I need to create a pattern. So my pattern needs to go through a string and get all instances of this. So this is probably going to be an re.findAll, I believe. Sorry, that's not my pattern, but I want to use my pattern and my input string, and that should return some matches for me. All right, so again, it's me matches objects. Find all returns you the actual values. So let's say phone numbers. Okay, so what should our pattern look like? So we're gonna have 3 digits. So let's get to our cheat sheet, because again, I reference my cheat sheet often. That's not what I want. Right here. Hopefully you guys can kind of read this. So again, a lot of meta characters we can use. So right now, I'm focused on getting digits. I'm looking at the regular expressions character classes. There's a predefined digit class. So that means I don't need to create my own. I can use /d to capture a digit. So I'll put that into my string. I apologize. I realized in my lecture I didn't quite go over why we use raw strings. Let me quickly cover that just so I don't forget it again. So normally when you have a string like this, let's call it string equals hello everyone, and then new line, this is a new line. Normally in regular string, we use a backslash character as an escape character. So this n is not an actual n, it's a new line combined because this escapes this from being a normal character. If I remove that slash, this is just a normal n. But a backslash n tells whatever is processing the string that this is actually a new line character, right? So backslashes are used in normal strings to escape out of them. in regexes, sorry, how you pronounce it, regex string, when you create these character classes, /d is a character class for a digit. However, this slash needs to be escaped also. So to actually write a digit class, you need 2 slashes. This slash escapes this for the string, and this slash escapes this d for the regex. All right. So the reason we use raw means you don't have to escape anything. Backslashes won't be treated as normal escape characters for the string. They'll still be used for the regex. So if you use raw, there's 2 ways you can do this. Regex string can be raw /d. Both of these will give you the same regex pattern. When you use R, it's just going to ignore the slash as an escape character for your string. You can still do it that way. It's nothing wrong. It's just going to be a few more slashes. Can make your regex a little harder to parse visually. So that's why we usually rely on just having a raw string so that we can kind of have fewer slashes. Is that concept kind of making sense? Again, I apologize for not going over that in lecture. I said I would, and I kind of just totally did.
Yeah, thanks. That's what was messing me up the whole time.
Okay. Okay. Sorry again for any headaches I caused by omitting that. But yeah, so R just means
makes sense. Thank you.
Yep. So that's a raw string. So I'm going to be using raw string so that I don't need double slashes. So now that that's hopefully cleared, my pattern, I need a -d. If I have one -d, what will this match?
The first digit.
Yep, it'll match only a single digit because this is just a placeholder for any digit. But I want, in this case, let's break down this phone number format that we have. In this case, we have an area code, which is 3 digits. Then I guess the middle block, which is also 3 digits. And then separated by a dash. And then we have 4 digits. So I don't want just 1 digit. I want 3 digits here. So one way I could handle that would be put in 3 digits, right? So this would match 1 digit, 2 digit, 3 digits. This would work. What was that?
Sorry, I was thinking about plus.
A plus symbol. So plus here would say 1 or more. So if I did that, this wouldn't actually necessarily get me valid phone numbers. So imagine if our input string was, I guess I don't want to modify my value. Let's just say we had some S value that was 555556655. This is not a valid formatted phone number for our sakes. Again, this might be true in some other country, but in this case, we have 5 5s. If we did digit /d plus, this will match 1 or more. So it would match this entire block and not actually get us the format we want. So in this case, we need exactly 3 digits and then separate that with a slash, do 3 more digits, separate that with a slash, 3 more digits, or 4 more digits here. So now we're trying to, again, actually match the format that's here. It's 3 digits, then a dash, 3 digits, dash, 3 digits. All right. So this is one way that would match one phone number. But there's a more concise way we write it in regex format. So instead of doing 3 Ds, we could just do curly brackets 3. And this does the same thing. This and this are going to match the same thing. This is saying I want exactly 3 items, no more and no less. This says I want exactly 3, no more, no less. All right, so that's using these curly brackets. Again, these curly brackets are kind of flexible. If I did something like this, where I have 3 comma, this is now going to say I want at least 3, but up to infinity. Conversely, if I do empty, like a empty first parameter, but pass in like 7 as a second parameter, this means 0 up to 7. So 7 is my upper limit, but my lower limit's anywhere down all the way to 0. In this case, I want exactly 3, so I pass it 1 parameter, nothing else. And that will say I want exactly 3 digits. I'm going to apply that here, just to make the regex a little more condensed. All right, so I think I have a pattern that will match this phone number. As always, I say use your online tool. So I'm actually just going to drop out of VS Code. I'm going to copy this and make sure that my pattern is being matched. So let's make use of some tools that we linked. So let's go to, I think Pyfex is something I've used. My regular expression, so that's my test string. Give me 1 moment. Okay, so this is my test string, and then my regex that I'm trying to match with is over here. Okay, so notice that this is highlighting each match that this regex produces. And it looks like it's correctly getting what I want and ignoring what I don't want. In this case, the spaces and commas, I don't want that to be part of my match because the only thing I want to extract out of here are just the phone numbers. Nothing more, no extra spaces or formatting like that. So it looks like, again, based on this tester, it looks like that my pattern that I've created here does in fact extract the number I'm looking for. So in that case, I'm pretty confident that this pattern is correct. And then we have our input string, which was passed into us. So given that we have an input string and a pattern that likely should get the phone numbers out of it, we can call find all pattern, and this will give us a list of phone numbers. So let's say phone number list. Because again, this goes back to reading documentation. Again, might sound like I know everything about regex. I don't. It's something that I just looked up. Find all actually returns you the actual matches versus functions like match, search, or find iter returns you match objects instead of the actual matches. But find all is kind of convenient in this case. If I do something like return phone list, this is already a list that has all my phone numbers in it. So let's actually see if that matches my test case. So I'm going to go to my test file. I'm going to comment out all the test cases that I don't want to run right now. And just focus on the one. So I think this was one. Okay, so we only have one test case. It's the one that I was hoping to test. So let's see if this passes. If it does, great. If it doesn't, we'll redo it. So we are in validate phone. And run Python validate phone and the spec file. All right, great. Looks like we passed it. Ran one test, which is the one we had uncommented, and we got an OK. So that tests a basic get all phone numbers, but I'm looking at the next test case down here, and we're calling get all phone numbers with some extra stuff. So let's take a look at that and make sure either what we implemented is correct, or maybe we need to modify what our pattern matching is. So in this case, please confirm your phone number. So this is the input string. There's no actual phone number here because we don't have, the format that we specified. So let's see if we get an empty list returned back. Again, I'm not going to modify my function. I'm just going to see what I've implemented. Does it pass this test case? If it doesn't, then I need to go back to that function and make my my refactoring. So let's run this. Fingers crossed. All right, awesome. So it looks like our pattern worked correctly. Again, the reason being is if I take this string and go back to my nifty online tester, throwing this in here, and yep, nothing matched. And that's what I would expect because there's no sequence of 3 digits dash 3 digits dash 4 digits. Right? These X's don't match the digit class, character class of regex. Any questions there?
So can this be using like a form? Like if I have like a form, I want someone to fill in their phone number.
Yep. Absolutely, Musa. That is a great use case of regular expressions. So again, when users are entering their phone number, they might have a different idea of what a format should be. Assuming it's some common way where you can extract numbers. Again, we go to one of the lower challenges down below. So I think the last challenge is one of the more difficult ones. In this case, we have, it looks like 3 or 4 different phone number formats. One format is where we just have all digits. I've definitely seen that in some records where we have parentheses area code. That's again a typical, at least in the US, a typical format for area codes. Using dashes, again, that's another normal one. Some people use periods instead of dashes. We should be able to write a pattern that works for all of these typical cases that can boil it down into one standard format that we specify. So yep, Musa, yep. Forms are a popular place where regex is. Again, think about where you're creating a new account and you need to have a password that has at least one special character, 1 digit, and has a length of at least 8. That's a regex that's testing for it. Yep. Okay. So want to make sure I'm not talking too much. So let's go back to our class audience. What do you guys have questions on? Is there another challenge that you guys were kind of held upon? Anything else you want to try to do on screen, so we're just familiar with using regexes. Sorry, I'll try to monitor the chat also. I'm pretty bad about monitoring the Zoom chat and the Slack chat while I'm speaking. If there's nothing else, I could introduce one more topic that I kind of did not have time for during lecture. So again, stop me if you guys want to have any questions about validate phone. I'm going to create a new file and call it groups.py. And let's talk about grouping in regex. So we talked about the basic structure of a regex pattern. So RE, we'll create a pattern, and let's make that pattern something simple. We'll just have A, B, C, and Z. So something we saw before. So this will match any part of a string that has a consecutive A or B or C right before a Z. All right, so just listing out items that will work. So should match. Let's see, jazz was one of our cases because we have an A and Z right next to each other. This pattern will match it. Let's do should match, I don't know, legit words. So let's make up words. We'll do yubs. This would match because there's a BZ. But we should also have cases where it should not match something like ZA. That shouldn't match because the Z is before an A, or if we have a B and a O, again, this does not match because there's an O separating the B and Z. So this pattern is not matched. All right, let's add the idea of groups. So we talked about creating groups. To create a group, you put curly or round parentheses around it to create a group. What actually is the usefulness of that? There are two use cases. Groups help you separate code. So in this case, if I have something like this, I don't know what character's put in here. I might want to do something like this, but I want this pattern to be repeated. Okay, if I put a star here, this is going to say I could have as many Z's as I want, but that's not going to impact this A, B, or C. Let's say ideally I want to match. Again, I'm changing my pattern here, so let's get rid of these. Let's say my new pattern should match something that's AZ, AZ, BZ, BZ, AZ, CZ. It should match this entire part of my string. So let's say, I have a bunch of Ys, kind of doing some nonsensical things in here. Let's say I have numbers in here. I want a pattern that can extract this entire block for me. I'm not just looking for a true or false. I'm looking for something that can extract this entire block for me, because that is important to me. Again, this could be a phone number. In this case, it's just a nonsensical string of characters. If I try to do something like this, let's use a wildcard here. This won't work because this is looking for A, B, or C and an unlimited number of Z's, right? So this is where you want to group an object together. Again, this concept is just, if you're doing math and you need to group like a plus operation before multiplying it, same thing going on here. So if I want to actually combine these, now that I've created parentheses, this is kind of an atomic unit. So anything that matches this pattern, and we can repeat that pattern as many times as we want. So in that case, AZ matches this inner pattern, and then we have a AZ again. This star is saying you can repeat this pattern as many times as you want, even 0 times. I guess so in this case, we probably want to do a plus, not a star. Does that make sense? So again, just a way to group your logic together using parentheses. That's one use case of using parentheses for groups. The other more useful case is what I'm going to detail as follows. So this is a group. Let's try to jazz this up. So before I make progress, let's just understand what this regex is doing. So I'm going to go back to my regex tester, and I get no matches for that. But let's see if it matches this. Okay, so actually it matched the entire string because I have this right here. But look at the match captures. The match captures is, that should be, so I'm creating a group like so, and then I want to I want this, whatever this inner stuff matches is what I actually care about. So I'm getting a CZ out here and I'm trying to figure out why. So this pattern matches CZ. I want to match as many instances as I want. But not why. Let's look at our cheat sheet. Okay, so we have some special sequences. We didn't go over these. I don't think I need anything in there. Again, regex can get really complicated. We did not go over look aheads. And again, there's a lot more to learn about regex than we went over, but I'm just trying to do something basic here. So let's see if we can figure it out together. Anyone have any suggestions? Any regex experts out there? So
you could maybe do the OR operator with your internal to ABC to like help it see it. I don't know.
Like this?
It's what I'm trying. Yeah.
Wait, how did that change my string? Okay, so ORing this. Yeah, no, so the OR here is going to treat each of these individually. So for example, if I had like a F here, it would treat A as an atomic unit and BF as another atomic unit.
Is that because of the brackets?
Sorry, because of the brackets, the square brackets.
It's something to do with this dot star. If you pull that out, it works. Or at least it started to with the OR logic that I had.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that gives me a match here. So yeah, that is what I wanted, but just trying to understand this. So all right, so I'm creating a group. Anyway, you create a group. If you create that group, your matches will try to find as many matches as you can. In this case, this particular item is a group, but it's not finding this entire object. Why am I bad at this? Oh, sorry, because this is Z plus. So kind of confusing here. So this inner parentheses is making this one atomic unit. The outer parentheses is making that entire thing a group. So now that this is a group, my match can say, hey, I found your entire group for you. I believe the second one is coming from the inner group here. Let's try to make this a little less chaotic. All right, so we make it AZ. We can match as many AZs as we want. So we get one match of AZ, AZ, and the second match of the second AZ here. All right, so let's try to mimic this in our Python. So in this case, I'm going to create an outer group. And now my pattern should match this entire thing, but let's verify because I'm kind of fuzzy on here. So let's do matches equals re.findAll. And that will do our pattern and our input string of this. All right, so I'm actually not sure what's going to happen. So regex away. Let's run Python groups. Okay, so we got two matches. We got the entire block here, but then we also got a CZ. The question is, why did we get two matches here? Is it because of this inner group? That's what I'm suspecting. How can I get this not to match here? There is a way to ignore a group, and I think that's one of the advanced cheat sheets. Yep, non-capturing group. So trying to be concise of what I'm trying to do here. So the inner group here, the reason I grouped it is so that I can make that one atomic unit so that this plus sign operates on both those together. That's why I need these parentheses. However, I don't want that to be by matching group. So in that case, I could add a question mark colon. Again, it's weird syntax, not something we went over, but looking up your cheat sheets can kind of describe it. In this case, putting a question mark colon is going to say this group should not be used as a match group. So in that case, the CZ should no longer be in my matches. I want to match just this entire block. So I think adding this non-matching group in, let's try running this again. There we go. So we got only the AZ, AZ, BZ, BZ, AZ, CZ block, which is what I was trying to extract in the first place. That is coming from this outer set of parentheses, which makes this entire thing one group. You could have multiple groups in the same in the same regex. So let's just do it with phone number since we were doing those before. So if I have phone equals 312-555-1155. In this case, our regex was something like D3, D3, and D4. All right, so this will extract the phone number components out of here. But again, we already have a phone number, so let's add some junk in here so we get that ignored. All right, so these double X's and this triple X's and the 9 should be filtered out with this pattern. But the question is, what if I just want the area code? How do I get just the area code out of here? My pattern is going to match this entire thing. So this is where you can create groups. So if I create a group around area code and run that, so let's do find all in phone. Notice that I only get the area code as my match because that's what the group is specifying. If I want multiple matches, I can put a group around all 3. So this will extract all components. So I match all of those items. Does it make sense what groups kind of do? It lets you kind of control your matches. If I want to ignore this part, but I still I need to match this entire thing. But if I match it, I only want the area code. That's why I would create only one group here. So this is especially useful for maybe like doing a replace. So let's say I need to replace the area code. Let's say again, Chicago's introduced a new area code, and this number is going to change to the same base number, but the area code is going to be 773 now. So if I want to do that, that's where we make use of our sub function. We need a pattern, and then we need to replace, and this gets a little tricky. So our substring, or replace string, and then our original string. So basically we want to take this input, extract the phone number, and replace area code with 773. So replace string is going to be, I see we're hitting 530, so this will probably be the last thing I go over. Replace string is going to be 773. So that's simple enough. But the question is, how do I only replace 312? If I leave this as is right now, can someone tell me what the output will be? Anyone want to take a guess?
Just all 773.
Yep, it's going to match my entire phone number and replace the entire phone number with 773. So I think Jack is correct. Let's actually, sorry, yeah, Jack is correct. Let's actually say new phone number. This returns a new string. And let's print that out. Print new phone. Run this. Yeah, so replace, I guess we kept the XXX because we didn't filter that out. But in this case, it replaced my initial phone number. We found the phone number in there and replace it with a 773. So let's say we want to chop off these X's. We can do that by creating a group here. So I think if I just put stars around here. Apologies for my fuzzy regex knowledge. Will that do it? Yep. Okay. So we created a group. Basically, we ignore what's out here and what's in there. And this group that I created with the outer parentheses, that's the actual match that's going to be returned. Everything else is going to be ignored. So I got 773. But my goal here is to replace only the area code, not this. This is a little more advanced. So maybe I should be introducing it just right now. This is where we want to capture the first group within that group and replace only that. So I'm going to have to look at my cheat sheet again. There's a G/GID. The ID is the group number you're trying to match. So if I return the match from here, let's do matches equal re.find. So let's see what our pattern is going to find. Pattern and string or phone. And let's print out matches and take a look at that. Print matches. All right, so we get 2 matches. The first match is entire phone number. The second match is that inner group here. All right, so now I have access just to replace that item. The question is, how do I tell it to just replace that item? And that, I believe, is with matches of previous defined group. So if I do /G and then ID, let's give that a try. So if I do, how do I do this? I think /G here. Oh, I know what I'm doing. So I'm going to create more groups here. I know I'm getting kind of group happy, but there's a purpose for this. All right, so I created groups for each individual component. So let's do a Python groups. All right, so now look at what we have in our matches. We have all components. We have the area code, the middle block, and the ending block. Now that we have those, we can reference those in our string. So if I do something like 773, group number 2, and group number 3, this is saying your new string should be 773, and then use the middle block and the ending block from your previous group. So group 2 is this, I believe, and group 3 is that. I might be off by 1, but essentially it's going to take that pattern, replace the area code with 773. We've hard coded that, but these are dynamic, as in if we change these values, they should change with it. So if I run this, okay, so I was off by 1. Notice 312 is my middle number, so it looks like I need to change this to 3 and 4. It's not 0 based. All right, there we go. My output is 773 555 1155. The way that's being done is if I look at my previous line, these are all the matches that I'm getting because I have subgroups in here. I have one group, my outer group is my entire phone number. Then I have sections for my area code, middle block, and ending block. Those are additional groups that are returned in my match. So I have my phone number, which is the outer group, then my area code, middle block, outer block. I'm able to reference those via the \G. So this is saying your third group that you found and your fourth group that you found, just add those back in for the replacement string. So that's a reference to the matches based on the groups. Okay, I feel like I'm in another case where I'm probably lost most of the audience, that, and we're past 5:30. So let me kind of wrap that up. I'll kind of leave you guys with that. If you guys want to know more about groups, definitely great research topics. Very important for regular expressions, especially when you're trying to substitute or replace part of a match instead of the entire match. Before we depart, any last questions or words or any last dad jokes for the day?
I have a quick question before we're done. For the pattern, why didn't you use the R string? Because I remember for the first example you used it. Why wouldn't it be used here?
Great question. And I definitely should have used it. Why did it work without it? You know what? You've actually stumped me. I totally should have been using the raw strings. I don't think that's going to change my output. That kind of negates everything I said before about these slashes. That's a good question.
I think Python's got some baked in handling where if you have a slash in a particular set of characters, it doesn't escape them without either raw in inputs. It gets weird. I think I saw something today about that.
Okay, I'm gonna do research on this. I'm not gonna try to make up an answer. Great question, Eric. You definitely exploited my lack of knowledge of what's going on here. Again, my assumption was I would need double slashes here, which I said earlier in the stand down. But it looks like this worked, and now that I'm looking at it, I'm surprised that worked. So I'm going to need to research that. I will try to research that. If I have an answer tomorrow, I'll post it in the chat. But I don't want to take up your guys' time. So with that, great question. Any other questions out there? Any other things that I lost you guys on?